User Input Service. It is an amazing function. I love it and I use it all the time when I'm scripting. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to use it. Now I'm going to show you first of all what it actually does. Michael over here, he's a bit of a grumpy man. He doesn't really like Steve over here because Steve is always way happier than Michael, and that's made Michael very upset and angry. So Michael has hired us to get rid of Steve. And the way we do that is by using UserInputService. And what the UserInputService would do, it will detect when you click a button, any button on your keyboard, and it will begin the script and do whatever you want it to do. In this case, we wanted to get rid of Steve. So I've made it so that when I click the delete button, it gets rid of Steve. Now, poor Steve, he doesn't really know what's coming for him, but Michael over there is paying me the big bucks to get rid of him, so bye-bye Steve. And there we go. No more Steve. Steve is gone. Steve is completely gone. He's no longer in the game. He's not in the game anymore. We have Michael, we have me, base plate, spawn location, and that's it. Steve is no longer in the game. Michael, still grumpy. Maybe if we come back later, he'll be happy. Right, now, let's get into the actual scripting part of the video. Right, here we are. We're in a studio. Obviously, that's the first thing you gotta do. If you're ever gonna script, you need to be inside a Roblox studio. Obviously. Right, here we go. Steve is back from the dead. Welcome back, Steve. Michael over here. He's not happy that Steve has come back, and he's hired us yet again to get rid of Steve. But this time he wants your help. You need to do it now. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, just disregard this script. I'm going to delete that actually. Right, first of all, you need to head over to Start a Player Scripts, click the plus button, and insert a local script. A local script is different to a server script, a normal script, like this type of script. This type of script is called a server script. It'll happen to the entire server. So a server script will happen to the entire server, and a local script will only happen to the person who activates the script. Only one player won't happen to the entire server. So we don't need a server script right now, so we'll get rid of that. Here we are in a local script. This is what we need. First of all, we need to make a variable. A variable is, you don't have to do them, but is recommended. A variable means, so let's say we want to reference Steve inside the script. If we need to write down Steve several times, what we would have to do is get the game, then go to the workspace, which is this part here, and then Steve, which is here, and the script will know that I'm talking about Steve. However, we don't want to write that every single time we need to reference Steve inside the script. So instead, we just write, get rid of print hello world. Instead, we just write local Steve. You can write whatever you want here. This is just what you say inside the script, so the script knows what you're talking about. Steve equals game.workspace.steve. There we go. And now every time we say Steve, it'll know that we're talking about Steve inside the workspace over here. We also need the user input service, which is the service used by Roblox to detect when a key is actually pressed. And the way we get that is by doing the same as we did with Steve. Local. Again, you can name this part whatever you want, but just to make it easier for you to understand, I'm going to name it user input service equals game : get service user input service. So now, whenever we say user input service inside of the script, the script is going to get the user input service from the game, and the user input service is used to detect when we click a key. So now we need to actually do the scripting part of the video, the scripting part, and the way we do that is by going UserInputService dot input began colon connect function input. Enter. So what this is doing is every time the user input service detect that an input has begun, it will run the script. So now what we've got to do is check what key they're clicking. And the way we do that is by going if input dot key code is equal to, and the way we get is equal to is by putting these, so it checks if the key code is the key code that we want, is equal to enum dot key code dot, and here you can put any key on the keyboard that you want. In this case, I'm going to use the delete button because we're deleting Steve from the game. Poor Steve. Rest in peace. So what this is doing is it's getting the user input service. It is checking if input has begun, and if input has begun, it will then check to see if the key pressed is the delete button, and if it is the delete button, then it will then get Steve and destroy. It will then destroy Steve. Poor Steve. So now, if we go into the game, we walk up to Steve. Hello, Steve. We have Michael over here, Steve over here, and if you click the delete button, he should disappear. Now, I love the user input service. It can be used for so many cool things. I just love it. You can do anything with this. Like, it doesn't have to be Steve.destroy. It can be it can be used for anything. It can change the time of day to be nighttime if you want. So game.lighting clock time equals. Now if we go over to lighting, what this is doing is it's getting the game, then it's going over to lighting, and then inside of the lighting properties, it's finding clock time, and whatever we write here will become the new clock time. So we want it to be nighttime, so we'll set it to 0. And now, whenever we go into the game, my bad. So now, whenever we go into the game and we click delete, it will become nighttime. It could be used for many different things. It doesn't just have to be used to detect when a key is clicked. And what you could also use it for is to detect if a player is on a mobile device. And the way you do that is by going local is mobile. Again, you can write whatever word you want here, but just to make it simple, I'm using is mobile. Local is mobile equals game get service user input service dot touch enabled. Local is mobile equals game get service user input service dot touch enabled. If is mobile, then print if not is mobile, then print mobile not found, meaning the player is not on mobile. I'm just going to put in a weight here, 0.1. And now if we click play, what we should see in the output, mobile not found. There we go. What this is doing is it's checking to see if the device the player is playing on has some sort of touchscreen. And if it does have a touchscreen, then it's a mobile device. So if not mobile, is mobile, then print mobile not found. What this part of the script is doing is if it's saying that if the player has not got a touchscreen device available, then it's not a mobile device, so mobile not found. So that's just one of the these are just a few of the cool things you can do. You don't have to use the delete button. You can use any button. You can use H if you want. You can use you could use the button H if you want. Any button, and it'll work. Anyway, that's all I can think about for user input service. It can be used for many things. I use user input service for a lot of things, many things. That's all I can think to say about user input service. If you enjoyed, then you know, good for you. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments below. Other than that, there's nothing else to it. Bye.